Hi, everybody. Welcome to Everhome weekly broadcast on real estate trend. My name is Lee Honish. I am joined by broker owner David Bartels. First and foremost, go check out our sponsor, Everhome. That's everhome.io. Learn about the difference. Check out this commercial. List your home online for one low set fee. Experience the Everhome way and discover the benefits risk-free. Explore Everhome's easy-to-use listing service risk-free and begin your journey to sell your home like a realtor. Get the benefits of massive exposure, full-service representation for critical elements of negotiations, legal forms, escrow, and title for a low set fee that saves you thousands. Visit everhome.io. That's www.everhome.io. That's Everhome for every home. Welcome back. Please follow him at Everhome.io, Everhome.io on social media. As I said before, I'm joined by broker owner David Bartels. Follow him at David Bartels. How are you, David?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I think we're awake for the second part of the second story. For those of you who don't know, we record once a week on Monday, and then we put these out. We do them bright and early. David and I had a slow start to the day, but we made it. We're here. We're warmed up now. And by all means, I forgot to say, please follow me at Lee Honish Marketing. I would love to hear your questions or comments or concerns about the show or what you want to hear more about. It's a hot real estate market still, David. It's so hot I can't put my foot in it. How is it up in the Conejo?
It's obscenely hot. You know, it's. You know, I read the average number of offers per property is running at 4. Okay, so that includes the the properties that are overpriced and are getting no offers. So we're hearing reports. I haven't seen it, but we're hearing reports of dozens of offers, on some properties. So it's pretty crazy, and it's only going to get worse here in the short run, because inventory is down 20% year over year, and that was down over the previous months because we had you guys might remember COVID hit March, April. And the bottom fell out of the real estate. Everybody took their house off the market. And now you've got inventory, which was already at an all-time low, is 20% lower than this time last year. And plenty of buyers out there trying to take advantage of the low interest rates. So who you hire matters.
Yeah. Which brings up the big question, buyers. We talk about them week in and week out. I realize that it's kind of a tired subject, but there are people looking to buy and a lot of people looking to buy, I guess, based on the amount of inventory. This next article, once again, as always, comes from Inman, and it's about setting expectations for buyers. And the first thing they talk about is, I've never heard this term, so you're going to have to help me with this, is a CITO, schedule a CITO.
Come into the office meeting.
You knew what it was just by, is this a common real estate term that I have just never heard in my life?
I had to look it up. I just sound smart.
I think I leave it to Inman to come up with a term. All right, come in and see me in the office. So the first real thing when your buyer agents go out there, and probably the unsung hero of Everhome, in my humble opinion, are your buyer's agents, because it's got to be a nasty job. I mean, it's just, that has got to be the roll up your sleeves job in a real estate office right now.
Well, it's a tough time to be a buyer's agent, right? It's a tough time to be an agent in general because, we were just talking about the limited inventory. So if you're a listing agent, you've got the lowest number of listings to compete for in history. And you got a lot of good, hungry agents out there, trying to get them. And then if you're a buyer's agent, you have the opposite problem. You have more buyers than you can find properties for, and you end up almost getting married to these guys, and you're making multiple attempts to get a transaction into escrow. You're bidding over asking price, and you're still coming in second, third, fourth place. It's no fun being a buyer's agent right now, and all you can do is cultivate those relationships, train your buyers to get a little stronger and more aggressive, and hope that inventory loosens up over the next couple of months.
So when setting those expectations for prospective clients, I'm guessing that you include Zoom in this model of the CITO, but how important is that first face-to-face meeting and creating the first layer of expectations in your office for your buyer's agents?
I'll tell you, it's really important. The bottom line is if the only value you're adding to the relationship is using your secret realtor key to unlock the door so that they can get and take a look at it, they can get that anywhere.
Yep.
And so the reason that you want to have a meeting with them, whether or not it's at the first listings kitchen table, the counter, the hood of your car, Starbucks, or your office, you have to sit down and you have to explain, explain the value that you're going to bring them, how you work, find out how they want to work, so that you can formulate a plan in order to help them achieve the objective that they've stated to you. You've got to build value beyond just meeting them at a property, unlocking the door, waiting for them to say, yeah, let's write an offer, and then go write the offer and hope to get paid. They can do that anywhere.
Now, I would think the second step of a CITO, before I have these discussions, I have the discussions about the market. Before we get to what they list as number 2, I think that there's a 1A. What are they qualified for? Why would I even begin the process if I didn't know what the dollar figure was that they're qualified for before I even show them inventory? Because I would think that creates unrealistic expectations. So I need to know the realistic dollar figure. And I mean from a lender, or show me your bank account if you're paying cash. Does that seem logical?
Well, the one big advantage that COVID gives a buyer's agent is that most people do not want to show their house without proof of approval, pre-approval. And so when you meet with somebody, you don't even have to ask them to do it. So before COVID, you had to cajole them, you had to push them, to get them to do that, because most people, they just want to go looking at houses, and then they find one they want to buy, and then they go figure out how they're going to pay for it. And it takes a few days, and then that house is gone. But with COVID, the way that it works is that you don't even get to see the house in most cases unless you offer proof of funds to be able to buy that house.
Wow.
And so when you sit down, you get to explain to them what the process is going to be. And if they're interested in looking at houses, you say, then you need to do this now, and you make that happen with them.
Which takes us to the second point. Give them the overview of the inventory based on the criteria that they've laid out. And this would be, I guess, that seems very logical. But my question would be, how do you create the correct expectation of someone who's been Zillow hunting as compared to here is what's really on the MLS? I mean, I'm sure they don't exactly line up.
Well, Zillow is a lot more accurate than it used to be. And the reason that it's a lot more accurate is that 2-3 months ago, they converted to an IDX feed. So when they started doing their iBuyer program, they actually became a real estate broker. And instead of having, these IDX feeds where they paid to access to data from the local MLSs, they just became members of the association and were allowed to access the same data that we see in the multiple listing service. And so the data is remarkably current, that way now. So it's gotten a lot better than that, but the market is moving so rapidly, it doesn't really give you a feel for what's going on at that property. The fact that it's still showing as available doesn't mean that it doesn't already have 12 offers and is getting ready to open escrow in a few hours. You really still need an agent to help you sort through all that stuff.
Takes us to the last point, as you mentioned earlier, the white glove of go, take them to the car, be there with them. I would go a step further and ask this. Maintain a good positive mental attitude about the whole transaction. This is where I'm marveled by buyer's agents. And I want to ask you as a broker, how do your buyer's agents keep that positive mindset, stay positive and upbeat and bright for the homeowner, as well as give them the white glove drive around service that, they're chasing 3%. So they should get that kind of service.
All right. So forget whether or not the buyers want that or not. Buyer agents need to do that in order to create loyal relationships with those buyers. Think about this. The more time they invest with you. So we talked about three things, right? The schedule, the face-to-face meeting, we called it a CITO. Give them an overview of the inventory and help them create realistic expectations. And then number three is to show them what they're actually going, to get. So in each of those interactions, you are spending time with them. And the more time that you guys invest with each other, the stronger the bond is going to be. And one of the things that I teach my buyer agents to do is write the losing offer, even if you know for sure that they're going to miss out on the deal, because and you've explained to the buyer that there are 10 offers all over asking price, and your buyer says, yeah, but I want to write an offer. I'm all cash, so I want to write it $20,000 under list price. You know for sure that deal is not getting done. I say write the offer anyway, because the act of writing the offer really binds them to you. It gets them in it. It creates a connection. Not only that, but it creates a muscle memory, and they go through the process, and then they use those feelings to try to avoid having those feelings again. So when they get disappointed that it's not working, they have a tendency to be a little more aggressive the next time. And if they miss that one, they have a tendency to be a little more aggressive the next time. And the reason I know this to be for sure is that as somebody who handles primarily sellers, and I'm getting multiple offers, I hear these stories from the winning buyer agents, how happy they are and why they're going to buy, and tell me how many times that they've made offers and weren't able to get into escrow. And with me, I just happened to be the offer where they just determined they weren't going to lose, and they just did whatever it took in order to get that deal. They were not going to deal with the feeling of disappointment again, and as a result, they put together a winning offer. It was aggressive in the price, it was aggressive in the terms, and they met all of the demands literally of the seller in order to get it done, but they were not going to be denied. And so I think that when you sit down the sit down is really about understanding what they want and to explain how you go about doing that. The next thing is to give them an overview of the inventory and make sure that they understand what the market conditions are and that they have to be prepared to be aggressive and to put their strategy together, pre-approval, their down payment, and be ready to go. Because if they do stumble into a property that they're going to love and they're going to want to buy, they've got to be ready to make an offer on that in an hour. And then the third thing is, if they're getting frustrated not being able to find it, put them in the car and drive them around and go show them what they can buy for that price point. If someone's saying the market's too high, I don't want to spend more than $600,000 and everything they like is $700,000, you got to go out and show them some $600,000 houses, show them some $650 houses, show them some $700. It's part of the education process to help them understand what they're, and set their expectations. And maybe that means moving them outside of the area, maybe 10 minutes outside of the ideal neighborhood is the neighborhood that allow them to get what they want and at the price point that they're looking for. Maybe they need 4 bedrooms instead of 5 bedrooms in order to get the price point. Maybe a 2-car garage. Maybe they end up having to get an HOA that they said they wouldn't consider in order to get the lower price. There are a lot of variables, and it's part of the education that you have to go through with them. So the more you invest with them, not only the greater loyalty that you're going to get with them, but the better prepared they're going to be and the higher the odds of success.
Well, this is everybody's opportunity to go check out Everhome and Everhome's agents, and we'll be right back. List your home online for one low set fee. Experience the Everhome way and discover the benefits risk-free. Explore Everhome's easy-to-use listing service risk-free and begin your journey to sell your home like a realtor. Get the benefits of massive exposure, full-service representation for critical elements of negotiations, legal forms, escrow, and title for a low set fee that saves you thousands. Visit everhome.io. That's www.everhome.io. That's Everhome for every home. Welcome back. Go check out Everhome, everhome.io. Follow them on social media, everhome.io. Which brings me to my last point before we sign off for this week, David. What is the craziest thing you've seen on an offer right now to try to get it closed? I'm sure you've seen this sort of jokey addendum that went around with all the crazy stuff. I'll buy you Netflix for a year. Has anybody tried anything really crazy to close a deal?
Okay, so I've seen a couple of things, nothing like that, but the stuff that I see I'm seeing escalation clauses. So we'll pay 1,000, 10,000, 25,000 more than the next highest offer. I'm seeing no contingency offers from finance buyers. That's unusual for us to be able to see it. I'm seeing buyers offering to let the sellers stay in the house after they close, to make it easier for them to transition out. So we're seeing that kind of thing, but I haven't seen anybody offering to buy a $10 Netflix subscription for a year. It doesn't seem to add much value, but
it's a very cute addendum that's floating around as a California addendum that I saw. But if you get a chance,
I don't know about all that, but we are seeing some aggressive, things that are going on. But a buyer will let everybody, let the sellers dictate every line of the purchase agreement in terms of the term. We're seeing buyers paying all the seller closing costs. We're seeing that as well. We're seeing all kinds of. We're seeing aggressive. Listen, as a listing agent, I love it. But like all things, this too shall pass.
Well, if you want appropriate representation, go check out Everhome. Give David Bartels a call and make sure that you get an appropriate buying or selling agent that can treat you a little bit different. Visit everhome.io. Follow David Bartels, broker owner at David Bartels on all forms of social media, or as we talked about earlier in the week, just type in David Bartels into your search engine. You'll get him. Trust me, you will. Please follow me on social media at Lee Honish Marketing. We'd appreciate you liking, subscribing, redirecting, whatever it is. If you're watching the video, if you're listening to the audio, share it. We do appreciate the literal countless thousands and thousands of you who listen to us and watch us each and every week. We're happy to bring you this content. Just check out Everhome, and that's all we ask in return. And we will see you all next week.